welcome to NDE Talk. I'm your host, Natalie Higgins, and today's guest has an absolutely extraordinary near-death experience to share with us today, and his name is David Echt. During his experience, multiple people witnessed light leaving his body. Not only that, the place that he was now in was just pure ecstasy. It was so profound that he didn't want to come back. And today we get to learn about it. So without further ado, I welcome you, David.
This happened a long time ago. It was a week before my 21st birthday at a New Year's party on Capricorn, January 6th. And there was a lot of partying going on. And for the few months prior to that, I've been taking a lot of drugs. It was, the time when people were doing that. And so I worked at a place where we actually, to entertain ourselves, brought in our best drugs. So at some point, it just got to be, it overwhelmed me, I guess. I didn't know that I'd reached my limit. And I just said, I'm tired. I went to lay down, and just coincidentally, there were like two Buddha statues on either side of me where I laid down in between them. And instantly, I felt like the floor just dropped out from under me. And I didn't feel myself rise up, but I felt the floor drop from under me and I was suspended. And I had a girlfriend that was there with me, and she witnessed that. She said it looked like the floor dropped out from under me. I don't know how that's physically possible, but that's what I felt, and that's what she saw. Excuse my voice, I'm recovering from a cold.
Oh, that's okay.
It just happened immediately. I went directly into the light. People have all these stories about experiences where they see friends and family and all the stuff. I went directly into the state of complete ecstasy. It was just remarkable. There's nothing like it in this world. Nothing even comes close. I mean, it's like the best pleasure we've ever experienced is like a drop in the ocean.
Yeah.
It's just really, I didn't want to come back. And it went on for quite a while. And I did come back at one point. I drew a breath, and I just wanted to go back, and so I left again. And I should mention, I felt my heart stop beating, and I stopped breathing, and I was gone. I was back in that state. And not just my girlfriend, but there was a room full of people. It was a New Year's party, and everyone witnessed, everyone saw this light emerge from me and swirled around the room. Obviously I didn't see anything. I was dead. And everyone felt it. Everyone felt something. Everyone saw that. And it went on until probably a good 20 minutes. I'm not even completely sure. It was quite a while. And I eventually, it's like the message kind of intuitively came to me that if I didn't come back, it was my last chance. My life was over. And so, and I didn't even really, can't say I mentally decided. It's kind of like, a volition of spirit that moves us sometimes. And so that's why I think I just came back into my body. I just opened my eyes. I was back in the room. I took a breath, and I was never the same. I was never the same person since then. And that was a long time ago. I was just 20 years old.
Can I ask you, I want to take you back to the beginning when you fell through the two statues and your girlfriend and the people that witnessed. Were all the people there, do you know whether they were also on drugs as well, and maybe it had opened their third eye to see what was going on spiritually, possibly?
Good question. It's a very good question. Not everyone was, but everyone saw it. And I've heard of other stories. I don't know if you heard the story when the Beatle George Harrison, when he died, they said that the room was filled with light when he passed.
Yeah.
And everyone could see it. So it's not completely unheard of. It's not real common, but I've read other descriptions that are similar. It's rare.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, I wouldn't know what to do if I saw that. I'd be like, what just happened? What did I just witness? And so there's no denying. There's no denying your story. I mean, everybody saw it. It's not about did it happen. It's we saw something. So and I have a question, I guess.
Yeah,
Are you afraid of death since this experience?
not really. Not the same way that most people are. Um, I, I I'm afraid that I won't get to finish all the things I want to do. I don't want to
Yeah.
leave. I don't want to leave any regrets behind. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of like scared straight. After that, I
Yeah.
stopped taking everything, and that was a long time ago. I'm 69 years old now.
Yeah. And
Um,
thank you for sharing your story as well.
yeah, well, there's
I
much more to it. I mean, no,
yeah.
I mean, it went on for months afterwards. Every time I'd lay down and fall asleep, I'd be out of my body.
Oh
It
wow.
didn't just end right at that moment. I had trouble even just staying grounded in my body for many, many months. I flew with angels. I had remarkable experiences. I mean, that I've rarely talked about. You're the second interview I've ever done. I've
Yeah.
rarely told anyone before
Oh, I'm
because most
so
people wouldn't
humbled.
believe me. I appreciate the invitation.
Yeah, I mean, I love doing this. I love sharing these experiences. It brings hope to people to know that death is not as scary as we believe. You know, it's the greatest lie ever told. We don't truly die. We continue on. So it's very important to shed light
Yeah,
on this. And so
yeah.
yeah.
There's part of us that's always there. We're just not
Yeah.
conscious of it. It's like the life force that moves us. That's just what I went into. Without the body mind, we are that life force. And that's, I believe, what I experienced. And it's remarkable. Um, so yeah, it's part of all of us. I mean, it wasn't just like my one experience. It's part of all of us all the time. We're caught up in our thoughts and our minds, and our ideas, and our beliefs. Beliefs are bullshit.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Like
all that
we
mental
think that we are our problems. We think that we are our struggles, and
we identify with
it's
them.
just not true.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And
You're
this is
right.
something that
Yeah.
I've learned from many near-death experiences. And it's another reason why I like sharing these gifts. Can I ask you, um, when you were in that light, that love feeling, that presence, you said it was like ecstatic. Could you
Yes.
describe that feeling?
Oh man, I wish I could. I really wish I could. Um, it is, like I said, it's our greatest pleasure in this life is not even a drop in the ocean. This ecstasy. It was so tremendous. I really had, I had no desire for anything, no want, no desire. I felt complete. I knew that was the reality. There's a lot of knowledge that comes with it. It's like a huge download.
Yeah.
um, and so there's a greater understanding of life after that, and seeing everything differently. But hard to fit into the world and society, after that, because no one understood me. I was just some 20-year-old walking around Los Angeles.
Yeah, because you were quite young when it happened. Hey, so it would have took you some time to integrate your experiences.
I was really dysfunctional for many years.
Mm.
Yeah, eventually I kind of found my way as an airbrush artist. Was able to kind of, become a starving artist, and I lived in the Santa Cruz Mountains and school bus. I did all kinds of crazy stuff.
And
Um,
the pictures behind you, is that that's your
oh yeah,
art?
those are some of my paintings. I've got a lot more.
Yeah,
Yeah, the one
beautiful.
on top is an angel pointing the finger
Yeah.
to it. That's my feelings about war. It's a bombed out city she's sitting in. And the one just below that is my brother. He passed away a year and a half ago. And so I have
Mm.
him stepping out of his story into a different reality.
Oh, beautiful. I see that. Yeah. It's almost
Um,
a great depiction of moving on from one life to the next, right?
very
Yeah,
much, very much.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And were you
Fun.
an artist before any of this, or is this sort of a gift that you'd been given from your experience?
Actually, I've been one of those guys in the back of the classroom was drawing pictures.
Yeah,
When everyone else was studying, I was doodling.
yeah.
And so after the near-death experience, I really couldn't work anywhere. I just couldn't relate to people. So I turned to my artist skills. I airbrushed, I painted vans, t-shirts, anything I could paint. And I just kind of got by that way.
And you're not the only one. So I don't know if you've heard of David Ditchfield.
No.
So yeah, he's very well known in the near-death experience community. And when he had a near-death experience, he was dragged by a train underneath the train and had a nasty
Wow.
gash. It was horrific. He had an
Wow.
out-of-body experience, and he was able to draw what he saw. And there were beings and guides healing him. And he was on this stone with this satin blanket covering, and he was being healed. And he was able to paint that, and it was a beautiful depiction. And so that's why I asked, was that a gift given to you as well?
I wish.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I made a living as an artist after that. That's when I
Hmm.
started airbrushing. And so
Yeah.
it's kind of been my saving grace throughout my life,
Yeah.
just being able to draw or paint or whatever.
Yeah, you're very
Yeah.
gifted. It seems you can tell a
Thank you.
story very well through your art.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, with the experience that you had, were you gifted any abilities because of it? Because you mentioned that you had a download.
Yeah. Nothing was clear right away. Yeah, I mean, it's taken years and years to kind of cipher a very kind of an extreme heightened sensitivity,
Mm.
um, a psychic sensitivity, where I can usually tell what people are thinking.
Wow.
Um, yeah, not specific words, but I get the vibe. I know what they're thinking.
That's amazing.
Um, and I avoid crowds because all the energy is too overwhelming,
Yeah.
all the psychic energy. Um, so there's some takeaways like that. Um, there's more of a knowledge of understanding that that was the core of our core existence. That knowledge has kind of been it's something that's become clearer and clearer as the years go on for me. That's I mean, I just thought it was an amazing experience, which it was. I didn't realize that at the time that it actually just went to the very core of our existence. For all of us, it's all the same. I mean, we're all part of this one great light and ecstasy. Um, it's like we're a projection of awareness. It's hard to even
Yes.
explain.
I talk about this so much. I really think that it's important to talk about perception. So the way we live, the way we think, you can change the whole dynamics of how you live on earth. And if you can just tap into the ideas that if you change your perception, your entire world will change and the world would be a greater place. So would you be able to talk a little bit on that and what your beliefs are from your experience and how you integrate that into your daily life?
I think for me, daily life is just the way I interact with people everywhere. I'm not doing any. I wrote a book many years ago, not about my near-death experience. I paint, but it's just the daily interactions of being kind to people, giving someone a compliment who doesn't usually get one, so they just feel uplifted a little bit better. This is this is kind of like it's just changed my life in a lot of ways. I mean, I was like your average teenager before that. I was very sociable, pretty selfish, blah blah blah, and so it definitely changed me, kind of like in an instant. Yeah, I've
Well,
become a lot more thoughtful. Like I said, it's been a lot of years, so it's time to ponder this.
yeah, so these things obviously take time to unfold. So it wasn't like, oh, I had this experience and now I can make sense of everything. It would have took, quite a time in order to piece everything together.
It really did. It
Yeah.
took actually many, many years. Yeah,
Some,
of being very dysfunctional.
and I wanted to bring up some people who have these near-death experiences, they're able to hear things or know things telepathically.
Yeah, I've had that
Was
happen.
there any conversation while you were in that light and in that space?
No, because I wasn't really, my body was gone. There was no sight, no hearing, no thought. I was just pure experience. I was just
Yeah.
experiencing the now, that now, what they say now, the moment. That I think a lot of those characteristics come with the body. the ability to actually have a functioning mind or whatever. And I was completely gone. I didn't have any of that. None of that was functioning. And so I was grappling with what happened after it was over. And no one in my world knew. There were no descriptions I could read anywhere. I was searching through bookstores, going to little basement stores and stuff. There really was nothing written at that time. So it's a much better world that way today, that there's more information. And the internet, when I started reading other people's experiences on the internet, that's when I kind of woke up like, oh, I almost swore. That's what happened.
Yeah, hey guys, let's talk about this. I also experienced that. That would have been such a good
Yeah.
thing for you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I eventually got onto a Facebook page for near-death experience, and that's how Jeff reached out to me.
Yeah,
I
I'm also a
was
part of
supposed
that
to-
group. Yeah, it's a
Oh,
beautiful group.
wonderful. It is.
Everyone can connect, everyone can share their stories. People can relate to each and everyone else's stories as well and talk about it. So it's really, really good community to be in.
It really is. Some of the deepest truths I've ever read in that group is people have been there. Yeah, I mean, I've read tons of spiritual books through the years, but and some of them are obviously wonderful, but these people have been there. They've had that experience. They know the truth.
Yeah. Something I feel is really important to share. How would you give advice to those who may be stuck, who have had these experiences themselves and may not know where to go? What sort of advice would you give to those people who are watching?
Um, I think actually joining a near-death group, like the one that we're both a part of, to just to see other people's stories and feel that they're not alone. Because that's available now, and I think it's fantastic. Because I'm surprised at how many people have had these experiences, and how many people are out there wanting to tell their stories.
Yeah, I feel like it's the world's greatest kept secret because I mean, there's millions upon millions of people who are having these experiences, but for some reason it's not talked about in mainstream media. And so
It
it's
should
something
be.
that you need to really dive deep into and to seek for yourself. And so it's important to get them out there into the mainstream so people are aware.
I completely agree.
Could you give us an example of some of your new abilities that you attained since your experience? Like, what is life like now with your abilities and how has it changed you?
um, well, it was a very long time ago. So all I can say is before and after, because I was just your average guy, going out partying and doing stuff, whatever. And all of that just came to an end. I became much more of an introvert, started reading more,
Yeah.
reading more spiritual books, trying to find answers, and just feeling separate from everyone and everything because no one possibly could understand. And I didn't tell anyone because people would just think I was crazy when I tried to. So
Mm.
I really, up until like not too many years ago, I haven't talked about it. And
Wow.
so doing this interview with you is kind of a big deal for me.
Oh, I'm so touched by that. This is such a
No,
beautiful
I
thing.
appreciate it. I appreciate what
Yeah.
you're doing. Really important work.
Thank you so much. And I didn't really think of it as important work because for me and my reasoning for doing this is I was afraid of death. The thought of just possibly not existing anymore terrifies me. And I had some incidences where I got quite ill, and I thought if I die, I'm going to leave behind my kids, my family, and I'm going to be nothing. And it terrifies me so deeply that I started looking into spiritual things. I learned meditation, read books. I would dive down deep into the rabbit hole to find answers. And I look
Mhm.
back now, I was asking questions even when I was a little girl. And so I've always had that deep sense of, is there more? And so yeah, it started my journey to sharing these stories, finding out more about myself and about you and your experiences. And people would reach out to me and say, you're doing such a great job, you're a blessing. And I'm like, me? I just want information, more input, some knowledge. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's a very strange feeling knowing that I'm doing a good service to people. So
You really,
yeah.
really, yeah.
Well, would you like to, if you could, please share a positive note to the viewers watching, a takeaway from this podcast, a message of hope and yeah.
Yeah. Actually, Jeff asked me something similar, and what came to me at that time is still true, and that when you're there, it's love. The feeling, the ecstasy, just it's like love amplified as much as possible. It's you feel wonderful. It's blissful, happy, wonderful. I don't even have there aren't even any words in the English language to describe it, but it's pure love is the best word I can think of. And it's like this wonderful universal love where everything you see it everywhere. Yeah.
Thank you
And
so
that's
much.
oh well, thank you. I really appreciate you doing that.
Well, I appreciate you sharing your story with me and for the second time ever. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's just such a blessing. So I appreciate your time with me today. If you would like anyone to reach out to you or to contact you, how can they reach you?
Um, okay, my last name is spelled ECHT. So it's ect-galleries.com is my website for my artwork, and there's a way to contact me there.
Beautiful.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you.
Thank you. All right, take care.